I'm a single lady living in Toronto, and these are some of the dating rules that keep me from going crazy because these streets are wild. Number one, I don't attribute meaning to people I don't know that well. That nice text, that great first date, that doesn't mean that they're the one. It just means it was a nice text or a good first date. Probably most importantly, and I should have led with this, I don't get my validation or confidence from men. So whether or not someone likes me really doesn't matter all that much. And I remind myself that you're not supposed to be for everybody. Not every person you go on a date with is meant to be your person. So it's okay if it feels like you've been on a string of 10 really bad dates with guys you don't connect with.
So you're almost 40, yes. And you've never been married? No. And you don't have kids? No. And you don't want to have kids? No. What have you done with your life? Well,
despite all those achievements, she's hit the wall.
I am so tired of this narrative around single women in their 30s who are going through breakups or who are still single and haven't met somebody, because it's wrapped around this idea that relationships equal success for women and that having a child makes a woman more successful. Therefore, oh no, if she's going through a breakup or hasn't found anybody, she's running out of time. One, you can find love at any time. Two, it's okay to want kids and to be disappointed that maybe your last relationship didn't work out. But no, there are so many options and ways to have kids. Don't buy into society's pressure.
Actually, there isn't time for you to find love. When you hit the wall, most you find that the prospects for marriage, or those guys that are willing to marry a 34-year-old, are few guys. Mostly they are divorcees and also widowers. But even those, they are going for younger women who've not even have kids, or they are young. They're not going for 30-something-year-old women.
Is it a red flag if a girl's been single for way too long? Like she hasn't had a man's in like 5-6 years.
I don't think it's a red flag at all. Yeah.
I don't think it's a red flag.
What do you
She's
think,
waiting
Jason?
for the right person.
Exactly.
I definitely think it's something to be looked into.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Because-
wait, have they talked to anybody? Or
We'll
no?
say they tried to, but didn't work out.
Oh, it
They had
didn't
like
work
little
out?
talking things.
Yeah,
but
nothing
nothing
too
worked out.
serious.
When it hits that 4-year mark of being single,
Yeah.
like they start to lower their standards. They're kind of just itching to be in a relationship too.
Facts.
You know
Not
what I'm
only
saying?
that, on
Yeah.
top of that, I also sometimes feel like it's like, yo, you haven't dated in so long. It's like,
Yeah.
do you know how to love still?
Ooh.
Like dead ass, dead ass. Do you know how to treat your partner right?
Are you a lover?
Yeah. Do you know?
fighter.
Because what I saw online is some girls were saying when they're single for too long, they feel like they don't need a man no more in their life.
Right.
They're so independent, they
it
can
gets
do
to
everything
that
on their
point.
own.
It gets to that
Facts.
point, yeah.
So it's hard for them to adjust to having a man.
That's true. I agree with him. Somebody who's been by themselves for a longest period, it will be hard for them to adjust to accommodate other people. How is she going to accommodate the boyfriend when she's been by herself for 4 years? How is she compromising? She's not going to compromise. And you find that most, even if they get into a relationship, it won't last.
Attitude. It's the older woman thing.
Single check. If you're single, heart this. Comment where you're from.
If a man can't spend $75 or $100 on a first date, he just...
Okay, a little different take from politics. I'm going to tackle this whole modern feminization. Ladies, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a little story time. I met my husband on a chance going to New York visiting my sister, okay? Freshly divorced, had a 3-year-old son. And I met this man, and you want to know what our first date was? A cup of coffee. Best $5 cup of coffee I ever got. And I'm going to tell you, in June of this year, coming up, it'll be 18 years. I am fully convinced that these women like this modern feminists, are going to be 60 years old, living in a single wide with 50 cats, still thinking that men are the problem.
You're goddamn right.
Ladies, y'all need to figure out what you want. 1 minute, you want men. The next minute, I don't need no man. I'm a boss babe. Yes, queen. Like, you're just throwing out red flags everywhere. And second part of that is, your social media has nothing but red flags all over it. So if a man in today's society, which everything is swipe, 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 apparently, with these dumb dating apps, you guys put you who you are all over your pages. And all a guy got to do is go look at your social media and go, yeah, no thanks.
It's about value.
Yeah, and your value is low.
Oh, wow.
It's a complete red flag-a-thon going on with this whole modern feminism. 1 minute you want them, 1 minute you don't. How many videos do you see on this app of interviewers walking up to women going, do we need men? We don't need men. Men are stupid. Women power. We can do everything. You know.
Do we need men in our society? Listen to this.
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
Honestly, no.
Do we need men?
No. Last time I haven't seen many roofers on the road that are women. Men in this country make this country go around. And I mean, do all the jobs that women wouldn't be bothered to do on any given day. Our police, our military, our fire, our construction workers, our welders, our plumbers, our blue collar men, our farmers, ranchers, all of that. I'm not saying women can't do these jobs, but the majority of them are men. And I tell women that I know that are single that always ask me, you know, where the good men are. I'm like, you want to know where they are? Because you guys have a long list of expectations of has to make a certain amount of money, has to have a right car, has to dress a certain way, has to have a certain house. But what are you bringing to the table?
So unfortunately, every single day I get the question, Michelle, what do I say to a guy that asks me what I bring to the table? And you know what I would say to a guy that asks me that question? You know what you should say to a guy that asks you that question? Nothing. Block him, walk away, leave him talking to himself.
Are there any older men who like single moms in their 30s? Maybe want to show them a good time?
No. Yeah, no, man.
I'm ready to start dating up. Let me know.
Guys, that's what happens with the war. The war is undefeated. No matter how much you try. So she's looking for another age group now because men that are in their 30s appears and they are not approaching her. So now she's looking to date people who are in their 40s and 50s, and we'll see whether it will work out for her. I'm just saying here, the war.
You can tell how much a woman loves herself by the partner that she chooses.
Nice guy, good guy, treated me well. But once I realized that he was not my husband, because I'm only looking for husband energy at the moment, I
At the moment, keyword.
ended things with him, and I sent him a text because like it wasn't that serious, you know. I didn't feel like I needed to do it in person. Anyways, I sent him a text, told him that I didn't see it going any further, and he agreed. He said that he didn't think that he could make me happy. And while I appreciate that, it was a very kind response, he didn't even try. He didn't even try and say that he like wanted to change, that he wanted to like whatever. Like, I can be manipulated.
The thing that stuck out to me here is that she's upset that he didn't say he will try and change. She's upset that when she tried to reject him, he didn't try to fight for her. He just was like, I agree. I'm good.
Just wanted to tell you I put myself back on a dating app. Here's what I'm doing differently. I'm just saying I'm doing differently. Is I am not looking for matches. I am waiting for the matches to come to me, right? So then if they like me, and it's only on one app, it's a free app. If they like me and I think it's a match, I'll like them back. And then I wait for them to do the conversation. I wait for them to start. It's like crickets. They don't start. I'm not starting the conversation, people. It's kind of like if you open the door for me. No, wait, that's a bad analogy. It's kind of like if you wave to me and I wave back, you're waving to me because you want to start a conversation, I would think, but you're not. You're just hanging out. I don't care. I'm just going to wait.
How come? Tell me why. Say it. Say it.
I have to admit, dating in South Florida is not for the weak, but I do a few things differently right now that help me feel great about myself, even after a mediocre date. First of all, limit drinking. You don't want to embarrass yourself on a first date, or you don't want to end up in his house. I try not to go on drink dates as a first date because we will be drinking there, and we don't want that. I rather just have normal conversation. Second, and it's so important, do not pretend to be somebody you're not. You don't have to be louder, funnier, sexier in order for him to like you. This is his job and his time to shine. So sit back and enjoy the show. Third, go on this date for yourself. This is not a competition if he's gonna like you or not. Just like mentally put him in a friend zone and see what he's going to do to get out of that friend zone. So you can just relax and enjoy. It's so important to enjoy yourself on the first date.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that guy you put in a friend zone is not gonna stick around. We know better now, and we're not gonna stay in a friend zone.
If there's one advice I could give anyone who is dating right now and who wants to be in a long-term relationship, wants to be married, this is the one advice I would give to you. So for some context, I'm 40 years old. When I was 33, I had a conversation with my cousin who knew I wanted to get married, have more kids. And she said, if you want to be in a serious relationship with somebody, date seriously. Date seriously. When I was 27, I was online dating for some time. And I know it's the hype right now, but back then it wasn't like the thing that people would do, or it was like kind of taboo. I didn't take the online dating as seriously as I should, because maybe if I did, I would be married now. Who knows? The thing about online dating is it opens up a whole world of possible people you could be with, rather than back in the day when you would meet somebody maybe at the grocery store or at work or down the street. And when I was online dating, I was treating it like it was a sport. Even if I was interested in somebody, the next day, the next morning, maybe I would have 5 new messages or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that person's cuter, or that person's getting my attention. And I did that for years and years and years, until now I am in the age that I am and not married when I would like to be. I did eventually settle down, and from the ages of 33 to 38, I was in a serious relationship that ended up ending, but it has lingered on for longer than it should. So finally this year, when I was like, okay, I want to be serious about dating, I want to be serious about meeting somebody, I just needed to change the way I date. Going back to the advice my cousin gave me, if you really want something and if you're serious about dating, be serious about it. Don't treat it like a sport. Don't go to the next. Like, take your time, get to know somebody. If they're not the fit for you, do not waste time. Move on from some red flags that you may be like, oh, maybe, no, maybe. You know. We all know when it's not right, and we force things along. So if it's not right, just move on. Don't waste time. Don't be like me. Don't stay in a relationship that you were kind of like, and then continue it for years and years, and then wake up. And because telling somebody you're 40 as a woman and you want to date and you want to have more kids, they laugh at you. They laugh at you.
Dating for the very first time at 43, obviously I had a lot to learn. And so I started following a lot of dating coaches. Now, what I found is that you really have to take what they say with a grain of salt, because dating coaches most often are people who have had good or bad experiences, and they like talking about dating, so they get out there and they give their unsolicited opinion about any number of things. And what you're going to find if you listen to enough of them is that all of their advice contradicts. For example, you'll have people that say, if a guy's not texting you frequently, clearly he's not interested. Another one will say, it's not normal for somebody to text you when they don't know you a lot, and it creates a false sense of intimacy. Or you're going to have somebody say, if a guy introduces you to his friends and family too soon, that means he's love bombing. Well, another one says a red flag is if he won't introduce you to his friends and family right away, because that shows interest. So those are just a couple of many examples from dating coaches that I've seen, and there are a zillion of them that all say all of these different things. Here's the thing. You need to follow your gut. It is really good to be aware of specific red flags, and it's okay to kind of dive into that world. This is what I found. Your mileage may vary, but it's okay to dive into the dating coach world. Just kind of reserve judgment and don't leap too quickly into taking everything that they say as the gospel. Some of them can also be very, very harsh. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of women are listening to these coaches, and either they're getting confused, or some of these coaches are just giving really bad advice. And so people are not ending up in relationships, because not only is dating hard enough to begin with.
The war, that's what the war does to women. Sometimes it's hard for them to think critically and properly, because everything is just raging. The emotions are raging, like, oh, I'm gonna die alone,
But then you have these coaches giving bad advice, and it can really, in my experience or in my observation, can mess up a lot of things. So anyway, take it with a grain of salt, follow your gut, be smart, do look for genuine red flags, but don't let some dating coach convince you that something is a red flag when it's not, or vice versa.
As a single 28-year-old woman, I cannot stress enough the importance of making sure that you have friends in your life
who are in the same chapter as you. For years, I struggled being the only single friend that I knew of, meaning all of my friends were either in serious relationships or married. And constantly being around people who were in relationships really ate away at my self-esteem. Because weekends would come, I would want to hang out with my friends, and they'd always be like, sorry, I can't, I'm with my boyfriend. Which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but after that happens so many times, you're like, okay, something needs to change. I also feel like the sense of relatability gets lost between you and your friends who are in relationships for a long time when you're single for a long time. It's like, I felt like they almost didn't understand what I was going through when I did have a new guy in my life or I was interested in someone because they were so used to just having a committed partner there for so long. But let me tell you, when I actually started prioritizing looking for and making friends who were single, who were in the same stage of life as I was, everything changed for the better. Since having more single friends in my life, I have gone on so many more trips. I have gone out in general so much more. I'm having so many new experiences because I've got these single friends who don't have anyone else to worry about. So
single friends always want to keep other women single. So if you're gonna keep all those circles, what you'll be doing, yes, you'll be going to all these fine destinations. These men will take you to all these fine destinations, but will those men marry you? No. They'll dump you for another 26-year-old, 24-year-old that they want to go out with to this final destination, because you've reached 30 and you've hit the wall. And that's when now you realize and regret it to say, oh, so all those men who used to tell me I'm attractive and I'm all that, they are no longer talking to me now. Yes, they are, but it's a thing where he's asking you to go to his place. Or it's a thing where he's asking you to split the bill if you go out. They are no longer like, oh, let me take you out somewhere to a fine destination and pay for you. Why? Because you are 30, you have hit the wall, you are not as attractive as you were. And those guys, they are not even trying to marry you. They know that at 22, they couldn't get you. So at 30, I mean, I'm just saying.
we're able to share new experiences together. Versus when I was just friends with people in relationships, like I didn't travel with them because they were always traveling with their partner. They were spending all their free time with their partner. And it's just such a different vibe when you are talking to someone who is single about relationships and guy problems versus someone who is married or in a relationship. I do value both people's opinions, FYI, but I'm just saying the energy is a lot different when you are single and you are also talking to a single friend who is going through the same exact thing. Also, I know someone's gonna ask, I found all of my single friends on Bumble BFF. Actually, 3 of my best friends right now I found through Bumble BFF, and through them I have met so many new people. So definitely recommend Bumble BFF, it actually works. But anyways, this is not to bash my friends who are in relationships or married. I am still very good friends with all of them. And as time goes on, I'm sure I will eventually get into a relationship, and so will my other friends. I think it really just comes down to being able to prioritize your relationships, your friendships, and your time alone. And if you can do that successfully, then you should be able to maintain all of the relationships in your life. But if you are someone who is single and has been single your entire life or for a very long time, I do think it is so important to have close people in your life who are single as well, because they know exactly what you're going through and you can navigate that together.
Okay, apart from the advice you're giving, I think you hit the wall. I'm no prophet, but like looking at the things you're going through right now, you have a few years to hit the wall. Guys, thanks for watching and subscribe to the channel.